Hello students. In this lecture we are going to discuss about the heat capacity. Now we'll take a simple setup. So before understanding heat capacity, I'll ask you one simple question. See, let's say there is a water. There is a water inside this container. Okay, there is a water inside this container. Let's say this is at temperature T1, right? And if you want to increase the temperature of this water, okay, let's say this T1 is something 40 degrees Celsius. You want to make this temperature, let's say a 50 degree new temperature of this water, which will be a 50 degree, right? This water is there and you want to increase the temperature. How you are going to increase the temperature, right? So how we can increase the temperature? By supplying some amount of what? Heat. When we supply a heat Q, then the temperature of this water or the system or substance is going to increase, right? It may become from 40 to 41, or it may become from 40 to 42, or it may become from 40 to 50, or it may be any temperature higher than 40 degrees Celsius. Like if the temperature, initial lower temperature is 40 degrees Celsius when we supply a heat, right? So depends upon how much amount of the heat you are supplying. Heat means what? It is an energy, like how much energy you are supplying. More the amount of heat you are going to supply, there will be more rise in temperature. Now the term heat capacity. So we are going to learn about a heat capacity. General way of defining a heat capacity is that I will just write over here C. Heat capacity is defined as C. So definitions would be written this way. It is the amount of heat required. It is amount of heat required to raise the temperature of substance by 1 degree Celsius. Now let's say there is a glass of water, and let's say this is at a 40 degrees Celsius, right? And you want to supply a heat, you have to supply a heat to this, and how much amount of the heat you need to supply? Such that temperature will become just 41 degrees Celsius, right? That heat, okay? So heat capacity is the amount of heat. Let's say you are supplying, I'll just take some random values, it is not a correct values. These values I am taking for your understanding. Let's say Q amount, how much you are supplying? Let's say 10 amount of heat you have supplied to this water, and the temperature has raised from 40 to 41 degrees Celsius. So over here heat capacity will be what? 10, right? Now this was a glass or a small beaker of the water. Now there is a bigger volume, more amount is there, right? More amount is there of the water. And let's say this water is at 40 degrees Celsius and you want to convert the temperature, you want to increase the temperature from 40 to 41 degrees Celsius. Do you think that same amount of the heat which you supplied over here is going to work to increase the temperature by 1 degree Celsius? No, right? Here, since the amount of the water is more, you will require more amount of the heat to raise the temperature by what? 1 degree Celsius of the water, right? So mathematically how it is written is that heat capacity, over here I'll write heat capacity, mathematically heat capacity C is given as heat supplied upon change in temperature. When this change in temperature is 1 degree Celsius, right, or degree Celsius or degree Kelvin, difference will be always 1 whether you convert it or not. When you take the difference it will be same, right? So difference is 1 degree from here to here, the difference is 1 degree. So it is what? It is equal to what? It will become C is equal to Q, no? Means it is fitting into the definition. It is the amount of heat required to raise the temperature of substance by 1 degree Celsius. Now talking about the units of the heat capacity. Let's talk about the units of the heat capacity. So heat capacity is given by C is equal to Q delta T. So unit will be what? Unit will be of the C. Unit of the C will be, this is what? Joules, and this is Kelvin. So units will be joules per Kelvin, or we can write joules per degree Celsius, or we can write the units of this, or joules per degree Celsius. This could be also unit, because this difference will be 1, or whatever may the temperature over there, that difference, whether you convert it into a Kelvin or not converting, right, the difference is going to remain same, no? So it is joules per Kelvin or joules per degree Celsius. This is about the heat capacity. Next thing about the heat capacity, if I ask you about whether it is extensive or the intensive property, heat capacity is extensive or the intensive property. So it is an extensive property. Why? It depends upon the amount of the substance. When I took a small beaker, I had to supply some certain amount of the energy. When I took a more amount of the water, I had to supply a more amount of the heat to increase the temperature of that water by 1 degree Celsius, right? So it depends upon the amount of the substance. This is one thing you should know. Unit is what? Joules per Kelvin or joules per degree Celsius. These are things which you should know. Now coming to next quantity. This is done, heat capacity. Next quantity is a specific heat capacity. Next is specific heat capacity. Specific heat capacity, CS. It is written CS. How it is defined? It is, now it is specific. It is defined as the amount of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 gram of substance, 1 gram of substance by 1 degree Celsius. Now here we are becoming specific, we are becoming more specific. We are just whatever may be the amount of the sample, amount of the substance, we just take 1 gram of it and we calculate the heat capacity. So here heat capacity is given as I'll write CS, specific heat capacity will be the amount of heat supplied upon M upon delta T per mass, right? So for 1 gram of substance, right, it is a heat. So if you try to fit into definition, it is defined as a heat. No, it is CS will be is equal to Q when both the M and delta T is equal to 1, no? Right, when this will be is equal to this. This is what we want as per the definition. Heat capacity will be is equal to heat supplied, okay, heat required to raise the temperature of 1 gram of substance by 1. So this is 1 and this is 1. Like coming to the unit, units over here, I'll write units over here, it will be is equal to joules. Then this is what, let's say gram and Kelvin. Joules per Kelvin per gram. Joules per Kelvin per gram is the unit of this. Now if I ask you whether it is the extensive or the intensive property, answer is specific heat capacity is intensive property. Intensive property. The reason is whatever may be the amount which is supplied. Okay, let's say I supply you 1 glass of water and I supply you 1 bucket of water. Okay, and if I tell you to find a heat capacity, specific heat capacity, what you are going to do, you are just going to take a 1 gram of this and 1 gram of this, and you are going to calculate independently 1 gram out of this and 1 gram out of this, right? So whatever may be the amount, finally you are calculating a heat capacity for 1 gram only. That's why it is an intensive property, independent of the amount of the substance. So to define the terms, so this is Q is what? Q is what over here? It is heat supplied to the system. Heat supplied. I just write this, heat supplied. CS is what? Specific heat capacity. Specific heat capacity. And delta T is what? Change in temperature. Change in temperature. Right? Next is molar heat capacity. C is molar heat capacity. I'll write Cm. How molar heat capacity can be defined? Again, like last example, specific heat capacity, we were defining it with respect to 1 gram. Here it is 1 mole, right? So it is amount of heat required. It is amount of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 mole of substance, 1 mole of substance by 1 degree Celsius. So Cm will be is equal to Q N delta T. N is what? Number of moles. So I'll write over here Q is heat supplied. Q is heat supplied. N is number of moles. Delta T is increase in temperature. Increase in temperature. Now this is about a heat. Units over here. Units will be what? Of the Cm will be this is joules, this is mole, and this will be Kelvin or degree Celsius. So joules per mole per Kelvin, or we can write joules per mole degree Celsius, per degree Celsius. This is the molar heat capacity, all these definitions. Now if we think about the extensive or the intensive property, this is an intensive property. This is an intensive property. Why? We have defined 1 mole. It is specific for the 1 mole. Whatever may be the substance, it is, we are defining for a 1 mole only. That's why it is an intensive property. So here next is heat capacity at constant pressure, Cp I'll write, and at constant volume, Cv. Heat capacity at a constant pressure and at a constant volume. So heat is what? First thing, we know that heat is a path function. Heat is a path function. Path function means value of which will depend upon the path, how you supply the heat, whether you are supplying a heat at a constant temperature or at a constant pressure or at a constant volume. When you supply heat at a constant pressure and when you supply heat at a constant volume, both the values will be different, right? So we also know that when heat is supplied at a constant pressure, it is called as the enthalpy change, right? When heat is supplied at a constant volume, it is called as the internal energy change. So since heat is a path function, so there are two paths. Second point I'll write, there are two paths. There are two path by which heat can be supplied. That is one is at constant pressure, and second is at constant volume. Okay, so first we'll discuss when heat is supplied at constant pressure. So what you are writing is Cp. Okay, we'll consider a molar heat capacity. That is at a constant pressure, right? Cp at a heat capacity at a constant pressure. What do you write? This to be Qp, and change in temperature is delta T. What is this? When heat is supplied at a constant pressure, it is written this way, right? So how we can write is that we can take this can take another form. Qp is equal to I'm just rearranging delta T. So what is this Qp is? When heat is transferred at a constant pressure, we can also say that this is equal to what? Delta H is equal to Cp delta T. See, the one form of the equation is changing into other form, right? This heat capacity at a constant pressure is equal to what? Enthalpy change could be written as a Cp delta T, right? These are the different equations which we are getting when we supply heat at a constant pressure. Now second, what I'll write is that heat supplied or heat transfer at a constant volume. B, heat transferred at constant volume. When heat is transferred, so what will be Cv? I'll write that to be Cv. This will be Qv and N delta T. The Cv will be is equal to what? Qv is what? When heat is transferred at a constant volume, it will be is equal to what? Internal energy change. So this is delta U N delta T, right? Therefore, this could be written as delta U is equal to N delta T Cv, right? It could be written this way also. So these are the things which you have to understand with respect to when heat is transferred at a constant volume. Delta T will be is equal to N delta T. Here we can consider N to be specific 1 mole, right? We consider this to be N to be is equal to 1 mole. So I'll write this delta U to be is equal to delta T Cv. So these are the different forms of the equation which are related to one another. Next is relationship between Cp and Cv. To start with, we'll use the enthalpy equation. H is equal to U plus Pv. So enthalpy change will be what? Delta H delta U plus delta PV. Now what is PV is equal to? According to ideal gas equation, PV will be is equal to what? PV will be is equal to nRT. In whole of this, a temperature is the one which is changing, right? Because pressure is constant, volume is constant. So these two variables are changing, temperature, pressure and the volume. These things happen at a constant temperature. We have learned this in states of matter also, right? When pressure and volume are constant, what happens is that it is at a constant temperature. Sorry, it is at a variable. Temperature is varying, right? When temperature varies, pressure is varying and the volume is also, sorry, what I mean to say is that we are finding at constant pressure and a constant volume. So over here, the temperature is going to change. When these two things, pressure and volume is constant, temperature of the system is going to increase. No? So delta H, I will rewrite this equation, delta H is equal to delta U. N is constant, R is gas constant, and this is delta T. For 1 mole, this will be is equal to just, okay, we'll write this this also, n r delta T. So what is delta H? To solve this again, delta H, we can write this to be Cp is equal to Qp n delta T. So this will be what? Qp is equal to n delta T Cp. Qp is equal to what? Delta H n delta T Cp. So I am writing this over here. So this is n delta T Cp. At constant volume, Cv is equal to Qv n delta T. So Qv is equal to what? N delta T Cv. So what is this? Qv is equal to delta U n delta T Cv. So here I am writing n delta T Cv and this is n R delta T. You take, like, this n will get cancelled, right? So how n can get cancelled? You can what we can take common is delta T, right? We will write this n delta T Cp. I'll take n delta T common and what I write inside is Cp plus R. So this n delta T is getting cancelled. So Cp is equal to, this is Cv, Cv plus R. Therefore Cp minus Cv is equal to R. This is the relation between a heat capacity at a constant pressure, heat capacity at a constant volume. So what is Cp? It is heat capacity at constant pressure, heat capacity at constant pressure, and Cv is heat capacity at constant volume. So let's remember this, some useful data. Remember this useful data with respect to Cp and Cv. So first is atomicity. I'll write a column, atomicity. We'll make this column. Then Cv. Then Cp. Gamma. Gamma is Cv by Cp. Okay, sorry. Gamma is Cp by Cv. So this is very important data. It will help you for numerical solving when the questions will be asked. This data will help you. Atomicity. So first is monoatomic gas. Monoatomic gas. Atomic gas. Cv value is taken as 3 by 2 R. Okay. For diatomic and polyatomic, but linear gases like carbon dioxide is a linear gas. 3 atoms are there. Okay. Here Cv value is 5 by 2 R. And polyatomic, third is non-linear. Okay, it is equal to 3R. Okay, these are the values which will help you. R in calories is taken as 2. R when you take in a calories, it is value is 2. So Cp will be is equal to over here is 5 by 2R. This is 7 by 2R, and this is 4R. So gamma is a ratio of heat capacities at a constant pressure versus constant volume. So what would be that gamma if you do this by this? So it is 3 by 5, no? This will be 3 by 5. That is coming to is equal to 1.6, right? This gamma is equal to, I'll just write some, remember I have remembered some values, 1.4, and here gamma is equal to 1.33. So these are some of the important data regarding Cp and Cv. So here only translational and rotational degrees of freedom are considered. Make a note that here only translational and rotational degree of freedom are considered. Okay, vibrational is not considered. Vibrational degree of freedom is not considered. Reason for this is that vibrational degree of freedom, reason is vibrational degree of freedom is active only at very high temperature. So these are all the important information with respect to Cp and Cv. Okay, here is a question. Temperature of 1 mole of helium gas is increased by 4 degrees Celsius. Thus increase in internal energy is. So this question could be solved based on a heat capacities. So increase in the internal energy, like in a heat capacities, we write a heat transfer at a constant volume will be is equal to internal energy, right? Internal energy change. So in Cv will be is equal to Qv and delta T, right? So Cv is equal to what? Cv will be is equal to Qv will be is equal to heat transfer at a constant volume will be is equal to internal energy change and delta T. What is asked? This is what is asked, no? So delta U will be is equal to what? Cv n delta T. So what is Cv? Like helium is a monoatomic gas, right? Helium is monoatomic gas. So for that helium, what is Cv? Cv is 3 by 2, right? 3 by 2 times R. Number of mole is what? 1, and delta T is what? By 4 Kelvin, no? So this is, what is R is equal to? R is equal to 2 calories, because options are given in calories. I'll consider R in calories, right? 2 calories per Kelvin per mole, right? So this is into 4. This and this will get cancelled. What remains is 12. So answer is given over here. Option B. 12 calories will be the increase in the internal energy change. See, when the questions are asked based on heat capacities at a constant volume, they won't ask you heat capacity at a constant volume or heat capacity at a constant pressure. All these things they are not going to ask. They will say internal energy change, enthalpy change, all these things. So that you should be very much clever enough to understand what is asked in a question, how to interchange the formulas. Okay, so you should be very much flexible with expressions or the formulas which are there with respect to this thermodynamic topic.